Evening. Don't know where to start with that. Someone in the comments complaining that we're late. The game's just finished, mate. How about relax yourself? That was a shockingly bad performance from Manchester United. Where it was bad, I don't even know where to start with how bad it was. Someone here saying full-time devils and chill. Don't think so, mate. You don't see us overreacting all over the place. And that's what I wanted to get into, actually. Overreactions. Tell you what, Fergie must be moonwalking around his retirement home at the moment, thinking, I'm so glad that I was manager in an era properly before Twitter came to the fore. The amount of people that I've said, get rid of this player, get rid of that player, sack him, get rid of that, Mourinho's got to go, not the man. Overreactions all over the show. Bad performance. You won't see me sitting here defending the performance. It was a bad performance. The overreaction though, mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing from people. Why are you asked? Why are you asked? Tell me why you're asked. The same people that are absolutely flipping out over the result of this game are the ones saying that the league was gone in December. So why are you asked? Why are you asked about the result of a competition that you've already said is over? You make no sense. Let's try and analyse this logically. I'm pretty certain Jose Mourinho didn't send us out of the dressing room today and say, do us a favour lads, concede a goal in the first 10 seconds and then the game plan's going to be this going forward. We conceded off a freak, scruffy bit of weirdness that the only guy in the middle was Antonio Valencia. Young didn't pick his man up. Jones got dragged out of position. Could argue that was maybe Matic's header to win. And Smalling was obviously dragged over out of the way for the goal. Poor defending. Bit of a freak scruffy accident. Whatever. Let's crack on in the game. We actually went forward and we actually made some decent chances in the first 5-10 minutes. We had some really good interplay. We had some really nice football. And I was like, do you know what? Let's get into this. Jesse Lingard was looking positive. Sanchez was looking like he was hungry. He was about to do something. Lukaku and Marshall link-up play was kind of there. First 10 minutes. And then we conceded another goal. An own goal. Absolutely belting finish. Phil Jones can't hit that well if he tries. And I think we didn't believe in ourselves once the second goal went in. We didn't believe that we could go and score 3 goals away from home. Even with the attacking talent we had in the side. Half-time come, I was expecting some changes, not just tactically, but in terms of personnel changes. And they didn't really come. He moved Marshall over to the left-hand side from the right-hand side where he'd been playing and been really ineffective in that first half. And I just thought we didn't get a foothold in the game. And if I rewind a little bit, in the first half, it was a very open game. And while it was 1-0, because obviously that was the majority of that first half before they got the second, while it was 1-0, the game was a bit open. And it took me about 10 minutes to realise Paul Pogba was even on the pitch. I've said for a long time I'm just not a fan of 4-2-3-1. Pogba being in that slightly deeper role, it kills us. You've got to have a three-man midfield. You've got to sacrifice that number 10 operating just off the striker to have a foothold in midfield. Every football game, for me at least, is you dominate midfield and then you look to impose yourself on the opposition. Even if that's just in a counter-attack, you've got to have a strong defence. Obviously, your goalkeeper's your ultimate last line of defence. Your defence is almost a last line of the defence. Midfield and even attack is where your defence should start. So if you're going to win a game of football, regardless of whether you're going to play on the counter or dominate possession and try and knock it around a bit, for me, you have to dominate midfield regardless. You have to win that battle in midfield. Some managers I know like to, like the great Sacchi of AC Milan in the late 80s, early 90s, he liked to dominate the forwards. He liked to dominate the opposition forwards with his defence. He would always have one more attacker defender than the opposition had attackers, so he would be quite flexible with what he played. I would like to dominate midfield. I think a team that dominates a midfield wins football matches. I'm just trying to get all the thoughts I've got in my head. I've got a million different things I want to say out there, but trying to piece them all together to get them out, I'm struggling. I've had some right shit for calling Ashley Young not good enough in terms of his defensive attributes. Tonight, I was sort of getting told that it was going to be Ashley Young that was playing ahead of Shaw anyway. Which didn't make a lot of sense. Luke Shaw's been fantastic defensively. You could make an argument for that. If Luke Shaw starts, both of those goals don't happen, at least in that way. And the game's 0-0 at half-time, then you've got a completely different game of football. But I don't want to single out Ashley Young, because even though I thought he had a poor performance tonight, there was some absolutely shocking performances from everybody. I think that's the first time Paul Pogba's been subbed off without an injury. I think that's the first time he's been subbed off, but got no issue with it. He wasn't in the game. I would have had no issue with it if Lukaku had been pulled off. Seen a lot of people trying to criticise Pogba tonight. Sorry, criticise Lukaku tonight. And a lot of people trying to pull me up on saying, do I still think Lukaku's better than Harry Kane? I do. I do still think Harry Kane is not as good as Lukaku. And using the fact that Harry Kane didn't score tonight to try and prove a point. Harry Kane had 8 shots on goal tonight. 8 shots. And they're trying to tell me this guy's clinical. Lukaku had 1. A clinical striker's coming away with 8 shots with at least 2 goals. A deadly striker's coming away with 3. No goals. Can't tell me Harry Kane on that performance. You can't use this performance tonight from Harry Kane and say he's better than Lukaku. Lukaku's problem that he's had for the last 2 months is that Manchester United's performances haven't been creating enough chances for him. And there's a slight element which is his own fault, like he's not been in the box enough either. That's the problem. I'm going to get to the Fellaini thing in a minute because I think it's interesting. There's no way he was injured, by the way. But Lukaku was largely anonymous. But I don't blame Lukaku for that. The job of a striker is meant to be to finish stuff off. The one opportunity he had, the one shot that he had, was absolutely fantastic. It was a quarterback ball from Pogba over the top. It takes a bounce. Lukaku has a fantastic touch. Talk to me about his first touch on the back of that, actually. Oh, you lot claiming he's got no first touch. Manages to ride out a really rough tackle and get a shot in on goal, which Lloris saves. That was Paul Pogba and Lukaku, and I thought it was absolutely... It was a fantastic play between those two. Unfortunately, that didn't happen enough. Do you know what? Sanchez was anonymous tonight. If we want to get into it, I think you can comfortably say the tactics was wrong. You all know my feelings, and I think a lot of you share the same feelings on 4-2-3-1 versus 4-3-3. And a lot of it stems down to that, into the domination of midfield. Right, let's see what you guys are saying in the comments, if we can have anything in here. A lot of people talking about the lack of fight. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest, because once we was 10 minutes into the second half, I think we realised we're not going to score here. We wasn't creating enough chances. Simply not creating enough chances. Yeah, total lack of fight. I was having a think here just before we got started as well. This United team loses bad. We don't really lose a scrap, do we? We never really find ourselves in a scrap when it comes to losing a game. When we lose a game, we're sort of never in it, are we? Like from the off. Like if I think back to that Chelsea game, I think back to the City game this year, and I just think we don't lose close games. We usually ride those out, but... some of the comments saying Lingard, why was he subbed? I thought Lingard was one of our more energetic players, one of our more productive players, but he had to make a change. I get that he had to make a change. So the fact that the changes come in the way he did, you can't say anything about it, except the Fellaini one was weird. Now, he obviously went straight down the tunnel. I can only assume, a little bit like they were saying on BT, a little bit like he must have been given some direct tactical instruction and not followed it through, the way Mourinho whipped him off after 8 minutes like that. Now, that's mega frustrating and pretty embarrassing from the player's point of view. I'm sure he's not going to be psyched with that. But the manager's got to be ruthless, and the manager's got to do what the manager's got to do. That's why he's paid the big bucks. So I got no issues with what Jose did to him there. I think that's the one, you know. Someone there saying, too many of us have had Edu our ass, Mourinho's ass. We deflect his mistakes towards the players. Team selection was poor, tactics poor, yet all the blame is aimed towards the players. I think all the blame is aimed towards the players on this. I've just said here several times, I think we arguably got our starting 11 wrong. Only really, I mean, the only real talking point I think you can have is Luke Shaw over Ashley Young. The rest of it certainly picks itself until Bay's fit again. The tactical thing, 4-3-3 over 4-2-3-1, we've already said we think that one's definitely got Jose's fingerprints on it. But the mistakes of the players. Once they cross that white line, Jose's literally not saying to him, is he? He didn't grab Phil Jones just as he walked onto the pitch and goes, do us a favour, son. Make sure you bag an own goal today. Just make it really hard for us. He didn't say that. So you can't lay all of the blame at Mourinho for that. Sometimes they've got to do that. When's Bay back? There was talk that he might have been fit for this game. I guess it's come too soon, so it looks like he's probably going to be maybe on the bench for Huddersfield. Certainly, we'll see him for the Sevilla game. Zorre said we should have played a three-man midfield. Yeah. Players showed no heart, says... Sorry, mate, I can't say your name. Our tactics was crap, says Ev. Matic needs a new gear. Matic was poor tonight. I don't think I've mentioned him. But yeah, I thought Matic was pretty poor tonight. What Matic usually gives you is a real solid base. A little bit like what you get with the likes of Carrick and that. Sometimes it's a bit too safe with what you get with Matic. But I like that. I like, you've got to have one of your players in your midfield three, if you're playing a midfield three, that just doesn't give anything away. That is an absolute safe. He's a safe bet. You give him the ball, he gives it someone else, or he gives it back to you. Joe, someone who's got like a high 90s pass completion because he doesn't lose the ball. That's what you want from Matic. Today from Matic, too many of his balls was like, who was that to? That was the difference. Lack of fight. A lot of people saying lack of fight. Fellaini fuming. Fellaini's definitely fuming. Fellaini's like, look man, there's 45 minutes left in this window. Can you get me out of here? I reckon he's saying that, you know. No width when you play young. That's not true, actually. He offers an outlet. Going forward, he offers an outlet as an option because he does hug the touchline very much. But because he's always coming in on his right foot, you never really get around the back, and he's easy to play against, I think, for a fullback. The problem's when you're attacking, and if you see how much room Trippier had, oh my God, he had the run of the place. He could have told him what he was going to do, and he still wouldn't have got there or been able to fix it for him. It's Matic, that not Pogba, that can't play in a free, says King Jaff. Might not be a bad shout, mate. We've not really seen any evidence to the other way, have we? The best players on the field were Valencia and Smalling. Do you know what? Aside from the own goal, I didn't think Phil Jones had a shocker of a game, if I'm being honest. When we took Pogba out, we had no control. Even with Pogba on the pitch, mate, there was no control. There just wasn't. Spurs, Models. Now, can we talk about this? I threw a tweet out earlier that BT was doing my head in, talking about how great this performance was from Tottenham. In the last 15-20, they did actually grow into being more of a performance. But when I tweeted it, it was a very decent performance from Spurs. But the way he was talking, like, this was the best Spurs have ever played. And I was looking, I was like, I don't remember loads of passages of play. They created a few chances, but a lot of them was pot shots. United was attacking in numbers. A lot of people have replied to me on that saying, don't know what you was watching. United was attacking in numbers. It was at one point in the last 20-30 minutes or so where we had 8 or 9 players virtually in their final third. Didn't happen often, but United was attacking in more numbers than we normally would attack if the game would have been 0-0 perhaps. That's what I meant by attacking in numbers. We are attacking in numbers versus the way we normally sort of do it a bit more conservatively, like with 2s and 3s. Doesn't mean that all 11 players are attacking, does it? Obviously. I don't know. Sanchez worked hard. You're always getting that out of Sanchez, but he looked like a player that doesn't know the players that he's playing with. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm saying that as literally just as a fact. He doesn't know the players he's playing with. There was times when his runs didn't match up with the balls other people was playing and vice versa. Yeah. Can we say one of them days? I think we probably can say one of them days. But as I said at the start of the show, man, someone saying stop being so biased. We was outplayed. We was outplayed. When did I say we wasn't outplayed? As I said at the top of the show, the overreaction's crazy. If this league was all over, what's with the overreaction, man? Funniest comment I saw was someone said, after we went down after 11 seconds, City would have bought a new centre-half by now. Tom King says, Shaw at left-back, please. Pogba isn't a holding mid. Let him attack. Yep, I agree. Mourinho got it wrong, says Anthony Bethel. Anthony Marshall says, this is a great comment. That's the last time Mourinho plays attacking against the top 6 side. This is a very interesting point, actually. I think it's certainly something worth talking about. So everybody's come and said, Jose Mourinho needs to play attacking football. Tonight he played attacking football. The problem is we was 1-0 down inside 11 seconds and then we never really got a foothold in the game. All those people that said I would rather lose playing attacking football than scratch out a 0-0 like we did at Anfield, where are you now? Just leave that hanging. Someone says I still blame LVG. In hindsight, we should have played 4-3-3. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that. Yeah, missed Carrick's calmness. We've not had it all season, but I agree. We do miss Michael Carrick's calmness, and he's going to be a hell of a player for us to replace. And what a career he's had, by the way. Michael Carrick appreciation for 5 seconds. Let's end it on a high, shall we? Defence was awful. Rojo and Baye arguably our 2 best centre halves. We didn't have them. It's not an excuse. It's just a statement. Whatever. Right then. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. Make sure you come and check out Stephen Howson podcast tomorrow, because Statman Daddy is coming on. Statman Daddy's coming on my podcast, and I am not letting him leave without admitting that Ashley Young doesn't need to be playing for Manchester United again. So come and find it. Stephen Howson podcast. It's not the one on my main channel. It's on my other channel, which is just literally all podcast. So come and find it. Me and Dave are going to get into it big time tomorrow. So come and subscribe to the podcast channel. I reckon it's going to get pretty heated. So come and join us. That's it from me tonight. Don't overreact. Don't worry about it. League was already gone in December, remember? See what next month brings. Laters.